We talk about olive oil, it has to be extra virgin, but the health benefits are really overwhelming. I mean, this is a food that for like millennia, like going back to antiquity, has been celebrated for its health benefits across skin, across from a medicinal point of view, and from just a nutritional point of view. It's a healthy fat.
This is Catch-Ups in My Kitchen, the catch-up you need every week in order to look, feel, and be the best version of yourself. Join me in my kitchen every week as I speak to a new guest about all things food, health, and wellness. Whether it's a specialist in their field, an inspiring story, or just a big girly catch-up full of all the recommendations, tips, and advice. In my kitchen, we talk about it all. Hey guys, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Catch-Ups in My Kitchen with me, Georgia Simmons, host of the podcast. In my kitchen this week, I am joined by Sarah, the founder of Citizens of Soil, the extra virgin olive oil brand, which really is leading the way for the olive oil market. If you're anything like me and love your olive oil, then this episode is for you, where we deep dive on all the benefits of olive oil and why it really is having a moment, and for good reason. We are really in a world right now where we are championing good fats and getting rid of the low fat diet, which I am so behind. Olive oil really is a superfood. There are so many nutrients to it. So we are going to hear all about the benefits of olive oil in this episode. So without further ado, let's go straight to the expert and join Sarah in the kitchen. Sarah, welcome to my kitchen. How are you?
I'm well. I actually love that it's in your real kitchen, which was the excitement when I got here.
I know. I was like, oh my God, we are in your kitchen.
Yeah, it's not like a podcast studio. This is amazing.
I know. I think it harnesses really good conversation. It's been like a little USP for me, which has been so nice.
Yeah.
Do you mind giving a quick elevator pitch? Who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Sarah and I am the founder of Citizens of Soil. I am a olive oil sommelier who is absolutely obsessed with all things olive oil, not just from the cooking side and the beautiful nutrition, but like from the farming side. I increasingly am spending more and more time in the Mediterranean and on groves. I just got back late last night from Greece, visiting some farmers and walking through some groves and seeing the trees. But yeah, my business, Citizens of Soil, my husband and I founded this, and it was really founded around the purpose of supporting small-scale producers that make outstanding extra virgin olive oil in a way that's responsible and in harmony with nature. So nutrient-dense extra virgin olive oils produced for flavor, not yield.
I love it. I mean, we were touching a minute ago about like how olive oil is really having its moment, and for all good reason. And I can't wait to go into it in more detail. I love olive oil. My dad also is obsessed with olive oil. So today he was so excited. Like, oh, I can't wait to listen to this episode. So I'm excited to go into it.
My dad's also into olive oil. It's so interesting. It's becoming a dad thing.
It's a dad thing.
It's the new whiskey.
It's exactly. They like the fine things. It's nice. So to kick things off, we have a quick fire round about all things food.
Okay.
So what's your favorite restaurant in London?
Favorite restaurant in London would be Quality Chop House. This restaurant, I eat a lot at home. I'm always cooking Mediterranean food. And it's funny, my husband always jokes that we don't really go out ever for Mediterranean food because we are in the Mediterranean a lot. And so we never have it when we're in London, even though that is my favorite kind of food. There's something about Quality Chop House. The Sunday roast there is just next level. It was one of those meals. So Quality Chop House is in Farrington. They have a beautiful wine selection as well. They have a nice little shop. I mean, I think during the pandemic, they had a proper shop that you could go in and buy some of the goods. And it was one of those restaurants that we really wanted to support during the pandemic. I remember have like a nice meal brought through. I think it was like Valentine's or an anniversary we had during the pandemic. That. But we also, whenever we have friends and family in town, it's just so British. And as Americans, it's like a beautiful historic kind of like feel to it when you go inside, quite cozy. And it was also the first restaurant that I had olive oil and ice cream years before we started the business. And so it became the inspiration for our signature serve. When we started the olive oil business, I was like, forget salads. Like everyone knows you can put olive oil on salads. We have to put it on interesting things like ice cream.
You know what? I've never actually tried olive oil and ice cream and salt, but I see it. And it's because I don't have dairy. So I'm like, it would have to be like a vegan vanilla ice cream or something. Actually, Saying that, I'm wrong. I've had it on chocolate sorbet.
I was going to say, yeah, we've done it on chocolate sorbet. And actually, our Spanish roll in particular is really nice on mango sorbet. So, yeah, you can find sorbets that it works on.
Oh my God, no, that is actually, I have had it on chocolate before, and that is a really, really good combination.
It's also beautiful on chocolate mousse. I know Coconut Collab has like a vegan chocolate mousse that we've used for Vince for that reason, because it's like, besides coconut, it's allergen free.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice one.
Amazing. Okay, so Quality Chop House needs to go on my list. Yeah. I've never been, not even heard of it. So
oh my gosh, yeah, it's just very traditional, but I mean very traditional in look, but the menu is like traditionally but inspired with like modern kind of techniques and beautiful. Actually, there's a lot of Mediterranean feel to the food, so it's the perfect mix for me.
Okay, I'm gonna go. What is one wellness brand or product that you can't live without?
I am currently obsessed with having bone broth in the morning.
Yes.
Because I travel a lot and I want like consistency, I use like a powdered bone broth. So I'm using the Paleo Planet one right now with like mushrooms infused. It was kind of like a journey to find, okay, I want bone broth, I want protein, I want collagen, get a little mushrooms thrown in there. So
that's
it's
really
the mix.
good.
And that is, I literally put it in little baggies when I travel.
And love that.
That way, even if I'm in a hotel and I don't know what the breakfast or whatever, I just can quickly, not that that's like a full substantial breakfast, but you can have that, especially when you're not hungry in the morning.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I've had like a big chunk of my nutrition for the day.
That's so
that's
good.
Probably the thing that for the past probably 2 years, and my husband thinks it's hysterical, especially when I tell people like my morning routine. They're like, what? And
I know, but I am seeing this a lot now with having bone broth in the morning first thing and the benefits of that. So I mentioned that I don't have dairy, but I was vegan, but I'm introducing more things back in now. I have bone broth, although I don't eat meat.
Yeah.
But I like bone broth. I think there's so many nutrients in it. But I'm seeing the benefits of having it first thing. So it's something that I need to try. I haven't tried it yet, but
it sounds weird, I think, to a Western diet that might be more used to like a croissant and orange juice in the morning to have like hot meat water.
Yeah.
But you do get used to, I mean, it's a hot beverage as well. So especially in this country, or people that are used to having tea or coffee, just wake up and make that little cup really quite quickly and the mushrooms just add a nice
little bit more
extra
power to it.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, what is your hangover meal?
You know what? I don't get hungover that much anymore. Well, I get hungover too easily now as I get older. So my husband works and drinks, and I have too in the past, and I used to be able to just do so much more. And the past, something about hitting your mid 30s and approaching 40 just means that you somehow, in my case, lost my ability to drink like that. But my hangover cure used to really be things like, well, going back to broth, like a pho, like a Vietnamese soup is just like, I remember after my hen do, I was a wreck for like 48 hours. And that was like just bringing you
back to life, nourishment, warmth, comfort.
Exactly. So I don't get hungover that much anymore, but when I do, that's still like something I would crave.
Love that. Okay, what is your favorite coffee shop?
Favorite coffee shop? We just moved slightly further away, but Browns of Broccoli is amazing. It has some of the best coffee in the city. My husband is way more of a coffee connoisseur than I am, but we now make the trek on Saturdays, like, it's not walking distance anymore, but we'll like cycle over just to still get their coffee on the weekends.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Browns of Broccoli.
Browns of Broccoli. They have two, but one is like right outside the Broccoli station. And if you go on a Saturday, actually if you go any day of the week, but if you get out the station on a Saturday, in the weather, well, good or bad, it'll be a lot of people sitting out there. And there's a lovely shop next door that has vegan pastries and vegan breakfast. So I always go get a little cake, and then I go over to the coffee shop and I just sit and have the best coffee and cake experience.
I love that. Okay, which food for you is a complete no-no?
A complete no-no. I really try to stay away from processed foods. I can't really remember the last time I had like proper fast food. Yeah. I'll pick up like a salad from Pret or something like that. Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about, like a burger and
like
fries.
Like a greasy, yeah.
Yeah. And I love a burger and fries, and I will get a greasy burger and fries from a good vendor.
A good pub or a good restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't trust how they treat like McDonald's fries. They are delicious, but they are treated, the way they are produced is so disgusting that I can't, even though I smell it and I'm like, oh, it smells good. I don't think I've had that since I moved to Europe like 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I'm so with you. I am a no on fast food as well. It's just no. And I guess for you as well, like, because you taste such gorgeous oils to then taste rubbish, you're like,
you can't even, frankly, I will say, you can't even taste the oil that they've been using so much because it's covered with so many, I mean, I'm not even talking salt, I'm talking all the other chemicals and stabilizers and everything they use to make that preserved. I really don't like things. I'm a whole foods kind of person. I grew up with a mother that also cooked as much as possible, even though, from scratch, even though she worked all the time. So I rather have something that is like less delicious.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Than do that to my health.
Completely agree.
Unless it's desperate times or something. But I have managed to stay away from McDonald's for like 14 years, which I know is a lot of people's like secret pleasure, even healthy people. But no, I just can't.
Not for me. Not for me. And lastly, what's your favorite dish to cook at home?
I love a pasta dish. It's not very glamorous, but my husband and I have this thing called like pasta rapido, which is just or pasta rapida, which is just making pasta really quickly. Like, we work a lot. We're, have our own business. We're often on the road, and it's like to get home and instead of ordering takeaway, to make like a quick pasta with whatever you have on hand. I kind of see it as almost like a game show experience. Like, what can I make with these ingredients, and how can I beat the clock? Like, my husband often wants to like order in. And so I'm like, I can make this whole meal in less than 15 minutes, like before the delivery, like before the delivery can get here. And it's such a basic thing, but I actually really like making something like that. I'd also say that if I have more time, making something like dalmades, which is like the vine leaves from Greece, is such a beautiful thing that I love to make. Our close family friends and who we started the business around and who are olive oil producers have taught me over the years how to make these beautiful dolmades, and they're just something that's
a delicacy. Is it like stuffed with rice?
Stuffed grape leaves with rice and vine leaves, and they're just, and you can make them different ways. Some people put meat, we put like herbs and tomatoes, but if you have time, it's actually relaxing. I just made it 2 or 3 weeks ago with someone. And we're like, it's kind of a nice activity to just with your hands. I'm not a baker, so I don't get to do those sorts of making cookies or something by hand. Yeah. So to me, just rolling those and it's pretty much like you can't mess them up.
Okay, I love that. I'm also the same as you when it comes to like quick, like fridge raid. What can you put in this? Yeah. Drizzle with like herbs, spices, olive oil.
Pantry, making a meal from your pantry. Like whenever, like last night, you just get home late. You just want something to eat. How can you make something like a pasta dish from your pantry? I love that sort of challenge.
Yeah, me too. Okay, let's talk olive oil. I want to start with like the health benefits. Why, if someone listening right now is currently using a 1-cal spray, which makes me so sad, or I don't know,
the calorie
spray, what are the health benefits of olive oil?
So when we talk about olive oil, it has to be extra virgin because that's where you get so just to clarify, because there is still some misunderstandings and people think, oh, well, regular olive oil, if it just says olive oil, it's still healthy. Regular olive oil has gone through refinement and it's lost almost all that nutritional value. So you need to look for extra virgin or virgin on the label. But the health benefits are really overwhelming. I mean, this is a food that for like millennia, like going back to antiquity, has been celebrated for its health benefits across skin, from a medicinal point of view and from just a nutritional point of view. Even now today in, big parts of Mediterranean cultures, especially ones that are more traditional, they are using olive oil as this healer. I mean, when your child is born, you put it on their head for cradle cap, when they have their little baby dandruff. You baptize the child in it. If their stomach is upset, you give it to them. I always think it's funny. I'm like, if someone can't go to the bathroom, they give you olive oil. If someone's going to the bathroom too much, they give you olive oil. It's like every solution. They're like, put olive oil. Scrapes, cuts on children, burns, you put olive oil. But now we know, because of science and research, there's so much evidence that backs quality extra virgin olive oil. In particular, there's overwhelming research done in the heart health space. So extra virgin olive oil is a big anti-inflammatory, and it has these polyphenols, these like biophenols, which are antioxidant compounds that are have a lot of proven benefits, particularly around anti-inflammatory, which now we know helps support lots of things, from autoimmune to cancer prevention to cardiovascular health. So a lot of it comes from that space. What I think is interesting that you saw more of coming out of the pandemic is a lot more about the gut health, like prebiotics, which extra virgin olive oil is a prebiotic. And people kind of talking about it from a digestive perspective. There has been, last year, I was at the Yale Symposium, Yale University in the US, had a symposium in Greece all about the health benefits of extra virgin olive oil. It was incredible. It was mainly filled with scientists and professors and nutritionists, but there I was with a couple farmers being like, tell us more. And the thing that has probably the most mountain of evidence, yes, there's cancer prevention, there's heart health, gut health, brain health is increasingly becoming one. And that brain health one links to a lot of research around Alzheimer's prevention. I mean, so much so that it's really coming neck and neck with the actual treatment drugs that they're now using that have been evolved for Alzheimer's. What extra virgin olive oil can do in the diet and doesn't have the side effects that those drugs have. So that is super impressive and such an interesting space that we're really watching more of. I mean, the whole industry is looking more at, as is the pharmaceutical industry. And more and more on things like autism. Like, it's very interesting, the brain gut health axis and what extra virgin olive oil plays into that. But I'd say in general, the anti-inflammatory, which is why we get a lot of people who come to us that their doctors, if they're older, it's often, we have a lot of older men who come to us because their doctors have told them for heart health reasons they should be switching to things like extra virgin olive oil. And then we even have a lot of young women that because of things like endometriosis and other inflammations are starting to incorporate it in there. So there's really a lot of use cases depending on where you are in your life.
Yeah, it ticks so many boxes. And is it because of the polyphenols in the olive oil that like contribute to the health benefits?
Yeah, I mean, one, it's a healthy fat, which despite what the 90s told us that we weren't supposed to have fat and fat-free was the way to go, we now know that is absolutely not the case. And especially if you're having a healthy diet, you need healthy fats to transmit those nutrients. I mean, you know more about this than me. I'm not a nutritionist and not in that space. But I think that the people are just getting more switched on to that. And what was that last bit of the question?
More about the polyphenols in it being the thing that kind of contributes to the health benefits.
Yeah. Besides the healthy fats and things like vitamin E and a lot of other like oleic acid and all these other things that sit inside extra virgin olive oil, the polyphenols are the part that really get people quite excited. And that's where we also have the most research done.
This one simple thing has completely changed my life, and that is mouth taping. I have never been one to prioritize sleep, but in January I started mouth taping and my sleep and my productivity skyrocketed. The deep restorative sleep you get from mouth taping is completely insane. Nasal breathing is the way we should be breathing at night, and mouth taping really, really promotes this. I wanted to bring it to more people, so I started Healthy Habits to bring you a luxurious and aesthetic mouth tape that you can use every day and feel proud to use. If you're intrigued on the benefits or want to give mouth taping a go, this is your sign to do so. Click the link in the show notes and use the code CATCHUPS20 to try mouth tape today. I promise you will never sleep better, and just thank me later. Now let's get back to the episode.
Now, but some of this research is only in the past 20 years. Like, they're still discovering a lot of what these powerful like phenols can do in the olive oil. The one that's probably the most celebrated that you see a lot in the cancer space and a lot of like the health hack community and people autoimmune is around oleocanthal, which is a specific polyphenol that was only discovered, 20, 30 years ago. That is the one that gives you that peppery hit on the back of your throat. And that is a really strong anti-inflammatory. And it is linked to a lot of the medical tests and things that they do.
Amazing. When people kind of look to buy olive oil, there's obviously some like certain criteria that they have to look for. Like you mentioned already, extra virgin is what you should look for. People say look for olive oil in dark bottles. Don't go for the ones in clear bottles. Let's cover some of these, because I think there are still people who are buying olive oil but don't really know what they're buying, because there's so many different versions of olive oil. There's your olive oil, which is like, you know, pure and full of goodness, and there are some which aren't so. So let's touch on what you should look for.
Yeah. So what I tell people to look for when they go to the supermarket or their local deli or wherever they're buying their olive oil. The first thing is the packaging. It needs to be in a dark container, something that's blocking out the light. So that can be a ceramic, that can be a bag and box, that can be a tin. It just needs to be in something that is keeping out the light. I can get into a bit more detail about some of those packaging bits that are better or worse after. But first thing is the blocking out light. Then I look for harvest date. Harvest date is like the singular most important thing that I think a producer can tell you on pack, because it lets you know how fresh an olive oil is. There's one harvest year in the extra virgin olive oil space. It typically happens in the autumn, and you can use an olive oil up to really 18 to 24 months from that harvest date. But just know that from when it's harvested, it's immediately in decline, because it is like this fresh fruit juice. So particularly the polyphenols, if you're getting into it for the antioxidant benefits, you'll lose about 40% of those antioxidants if it's stored properly over the course of a year. So, and that's not to say if you have opened the bottle and got air in it or kept it near your stove or something like that, that's going to degrade it faster. So even in the best conditions, you're going to lose the health benefits over the course of the year. And with that goes a lot of the flavor. So looking for a harvest date is really important. If a producer doesn't tell you a harvest date and it just has a best before, the best before date literally just talks about from when it was bottled. And in extra virgin olive oil, which is like a commodity and a commodity system with set market prices, what happens is that will change hands a lot during the course. It'll be made by these farmers, blended, moved here, blended again, moved here. By the time it actually gets bottled, it could be 6 months or a year into its life, or sometimes even later. There are producers right now who are trying to sell oil to us and out in the market, or sitting on oil, and we're about to approach the next harvest. So that oil hasn't even bottled and we're almost a year in. So wow. That is how you can end up with old oil. So harvest date is so important. And I think if a producer doesn't want to talk about it, they're just not disclosing a really important part of the freshness and flavor. After that, you want to see region. So again, this comes down to if you're wanting to buy like a specialty, spend some money on olive oil. The first two should be any olive oil you buy, any extra virgin olive oil you buy. But if you're wanting to buy something that's nice and has a bit more provenance to it and quality to it, certainly, you're going to want to look at region and specificity of region. So are they telling you this is from Andalusia? Are they even giving you a village? That's really exciting. Or are they just saying Spain, which is still fine, or EU or non-EU origins, which is a really common thing. You'll see these beautiful Italian brands and French brands. I always think it's so fun. They go on so much about the history of this business, and you look on the back and it's from EU and non-EU origins, or from just EU origins, which means it's coming from all over the Mediterranean. And you're like, they don't even have control over like exactly where this is coming from. And then variety is an important thing to look out for, because it lets you know a bit what the flavor is going to be like. Just buying an olive oil, picking one off the shelf, if you're going to, especially the people who do a shot in the morning or want to have it over certain food, if you pick up a bottle of olive oil and it doesn't tell you the variety, you don't really know the flavor that comes with it. It's like picking up a bottle of even a white wine. You're like, is this like Pinot Grigio? Is this Chardonnay? Is this like, the range could be quite dramatic, and you might not actually like that particular variety, which is very possible. Even me, there's some varieties that I just try and I never really get excited about.
Yeah.
So you want to know that.
That is so interesting. And should we be looking for single origin? I hear that a lot, like you want single origin. Is that something that's important, or does it, I guess so. I guess if it's not single, it's going through multiple different hands, so losing some of the nutritional benefits, I guess.
Yeah, it can be that. So single origin is important because, to me, coming from the sustainability world, it really shows like full traceability. You know, like exactly where it's come from. And in a commodity system where things are just blended and mixed and shipped all over the place, you have no idea really what you're getting if you don't kind of have a clear view of like the supply chain. So I think single origin is good for that. It's also good because kind of those flavor, it'll represent that place where it comes from, and it can taste like that specific region or that specific, area. from a quality perspective, like you could, in theory, take the best oil that you can find in the Istrian Peninsula of Croatia and the best oil you can find from, this part of Tuscany, and you could blend them together and like see what it would taste like. But that doesn't really happen. The reality is, whenever you see things that aren't single origin, they're usually bulk blends.
Okay, interesting. So why do you think that olive oil is having such a moment now? Like on socials, you are seeing people shotting olive oil. I mean, are there some things that you're seeing that you're just like, what is going on? Or are there a lot of exciting things? Like, talk about kind of like the space, because I'm seeing people shotting olive oil and I'm like, oh, wow. Like, one moment people aren't really talking about olive oil and now they are, and they're shotting it. So it's like, wow, this is really going crazy. So touch on that.
Yeah. I think the Mediterranean diet has had a trend for a while because it's been so researched for its health benefits. So we know more about blue zones, but for the past, even, as the States kind of talks about these things a bit more, which is where I'm from, even 30 years ago, people were starting to get really excited about the Mediterranean diet. So that trend has been happening for a while. I think then we start seeing people going to these places and traveling. So we live in a city like London. A lot of people have been able to go to, Spain and Greece and Portugal, and they have these lovely experiences, and they'll have tried oils in that place. And so they get excited about it and bring it back. But make no mistake, the pandemic had a huge impact on health, which is why we're seeing this whole rise of this longevity community and people wanting to, and health issues that are actually coming out of the things that we eat that we're needing to resolve. So I think everything that's happening in the health space has had a profound impact on food. And while there's a lot of trends, there's something like comforting about a whole food like extra virgin olive oil. This is not, I know the vegan, you do a lot in the vegan space, but like there was that wave of veganism that the food was just so highly processed. Really, you were better off eating something meat, frankly. Yeah. And a lot of people like me who were like flexitarian in that moment were like, I rather just have like an egg than whatever this food bar is telling me. Yeah. But the comfort of extra virgin olive oil is this thing that has been with us since antiquity, and it's this whole food and it has the nutrition. And I think people often kind of cling to ingredients like that, be it beans or avocados or something that just feels like, okay, this is a singular thing that feels safe. And also, like I was saying at the beginning, with all of the research that's gone into it and the rise of like inflammation issues in people's health and, dementia and all these different research projects that have been going on in the space, extra virgin olive oil is getting more hype. Second to that, though, is actually the fact that the trend of people wanting to know where their food comes from. We've had this whole movement in coffee and in chocolate and in beer with the craft beer movement. Like people want to know how things are made and who made it. And so that, I think, is sweeping across our kitchens, and that has made people start to question, well, yeah, now I'm drinking single origin coffee, that was done this way, and this organic chocolate that I know is, slavery free, but like what's actually happening in the other things that I buy all the time, that I consume every day. And then there's the final bit, which is this, what we often call like the beautification of pantry. Now, you're making content in your home, in your kitchen. People are seeing what's in there. So in our case, having a beautiful bottle, and a lot of these brands are kind of taking advantage of, for better or for worse, like sometimes like us as well. It's like, let's have something beautiful that people want to showcase. And so you see that more. And so all of these has come together that I think now people, like they would their wardrobe, have set up their kitchens in a way that when friends come over or whenever they're showing a video online, they can be like, look at, like, this is my curation. I've thought of these things, and like it makes you kind of, people associate like, oh, I buy that brand too. It's all kind of like that community, like really like rooted status side of you.
Completely. For me, the kitchen is my favorite room in the house, and I love, like, I used to do these videos. It's like, what's in my fridge, and like I love those, and like what's in my cupboard, and like I think it's so interesting, but it's so true. Like this whole food movement, people want things from the ground. People want things that are natural, and olive oil is all of that and more, with all the benefits that go with it, which is just amazing. Yeah. But the whole fat-free and now high-fat movement has also been quite interesting, because we've gone from a world of like 0% fat yogurt and fat-free this, that, and the other, to now everyone raving about like fats are good and good quality fats. But I saw a video, actually, I think it was yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm watching this. And it was a girl saying things that are fattening. And it was like nut butters. And then she actually wrote 1 tablespoon of olive oil is 120 calories. And I was like, I cannot believe you have just like kind of equated olive oil into calories and made that kind of demonization over a food source. I was like good quality fats are so amazing, and they're called good fats for a reason.
Yeah.
Like that versus the 1 cow spray, which is stored in plastic. It comes out like white, and it's just a
and like,
horrible.
what is it?
What is it? So have you found the kind of like, firstly, what's your thoughts on the kind of good fat versus bad fat world? And also, have you found the movement really beneficial?
Yes and no. I mean, I do still think you can find dietitians and nutritionists and people online like this woman who will still tell you, and we have customers all the time that they don't want to consume that. They love olive oil or they like our oil, but they don't want to consume that much of it because of the calorie issue. It still stands. It doesn't matter. There are actually people in the health space who still do talk about calories. They haven't really grasped the healthier fat side. Yeah. We see a lot. I think I have a story from the beginning of the business where a friend was going to a dietitian, and our nutritionist was telling her that 2 tablespoons of olive oil was basically equivalent to a slimline G&T. And so this was a decision she was making every day. She was a member of our olive oil club, so she loved to make salads with the oil, but it was like a decision of like how much oil versus a slimline G&T, which to me, I'm like, is there anything worse than like a fake sugar and alcohol in a combination? Like, is there anything?
Yeah, I am such a one for like full fat everything. Like, I'm not one for fizzy drinks, but like normal Coke versus Diet Coke, like get the full fat if you're having it at all. Yeah. Like, I'm a G&T girl. But like, I will never have a slimline. Like, I want to have the normal tonic.
I'm sure there are people like on the diabetic spectrum and things that have to be really careful with their sugar. But just as a normal person who doesn't have, have to worry, any more than we should normally with our sugar. Yeah, that was a crazy one to me. Yeah. But yeah, we are seeing there's still a lot of confusion in this space. And that's where I think again, going back to the comfort of extra virgin olive oil, the comfort of the Mediterranean diet. This isn't a new fad. This isn't something that's been created. And I think even in the world, as I said, I spent a lot of time in the Mediterranean, and at that Yale symposium, they also talked about how the Mediterranean diet is changing in those countries, like the next generation. Greece has a huge epidemic of obese children with diabetes and sugar issues, like across the Mediterranean. Even in Spain, they have these beautiful traditional foods, but of course people are grabbing crisps and fizzy drinks and sugary sweets, and just like we are. Yeah. And so, but I think constantly like rooting yourself back in like the simplicity of that is, to me, the best way to stay healthy.
Completely agree. Completely. Now I want to touch on like taking in everyday commodity. I say everyday commodity because I would say olive oil is like a kitchen household staple, everyday commodity that I would be really interested to know, actually. I was about to say 90% of people have in their home, but I'd be really interested to know what that actual statistic is. But I'd say, majority of people have it in their home.
Yeah, it's like 50% household penetration in the UK.
Okay, interesting.
I think a lot of it is stopped by the cost of it, is what we hear.
Yeah.
It is not, especially now with the price hikes, it's not an economical product. Some people are just not going to be able to afford extra virgin olive oil or might not understand the role it could play in their health. I often think of like how you can create a healthier, cost-effective diet. But some people we don't often have the building blocks to see how to actually make that.
Completely. But I always say that, if we can't afford organic everything, but good, I was saying earlier, good quality olive oil can alleviate and like make your dish so much more nutritionally dense than if you just have another oil source.
And make you eat, I think the beautiful thing about extra virgin olive oil, I often say, is it can make you eat more plants, because it can, the way you can cook in fat and the way it fries, like the even distribution whenever you're kind of sauteing in the pan, and literally the mouthfeel that it can bring and the satiation that it can bring from the flavor, and because it has the bitterness and the pepperiness, how it can like transform the flavor it makes it a more enjoyable experience to eat things like, how could we eat a bowl of lettuce if there wasn't a beautiful fat and dressing over it? Like, one, we now know we need that for nutrition, but we always knew we needed it for just enjoyment of a bowl of leaves. That's the reality.
I actually saw a video, and again, this might be wrong, but like I saw a video of someone drizzling olive oil on raw carrots, and apparently it kind of amplifies the nutritional benefit of carrot if you eat it with olive oil.
Yeah, there's been a lot of research actually in cooking, even just cooking with extra virgin olive oil, cooking vegetables in extra virgin olive oil, and how it increases the nutritional density of the food that you've cooked. So whenever you take those vegetables out of the pan versus if you were boiling them or roasting them or whatever, they now have added polyphenols, added phenol, like phenolic compounds as a result. So they are healthier. Like basically cooking your broccoli in a pan with olive oil is making it healthier than if you just had that broccoli any other way prepared.
Yeah, I mean, that is amazing. With cooking it, is there a limit on temperature with olive oil? Because I have heard this, and it's something that I was kind of playing around with, like, would I use coconut oil versus olive oil for certain foods because of the temperature threshold? What's the truth on that?
Yeah, that is actually Tim Spector has a wonderful podcast on cooking with olive oil. And I always point people to, because they've done so much research in the space and they have all the evidence, and we do link out to that as well. Essentially, yes, you can cook with extra virgin olive oil. Anything you do in a home kitchen, you can do with extra virgin olive oil. Where it starts to have like a smoke point is anywhere like above 220 to 240. Actually, the higher the polyphenols, the more resilient it is to heat, so it can hold up better in cooking. But anything you do, I mean, most home cooking, roasting, pan frying, those sorts of things, tops out at like 200, 220 anyways. So most roasting and baking and things are like around 180 is the reality of like what that food temperature gets to. So I don't know if there's nothing in a home kitchen I wouldn't do, or I haven't seen done in the Mediterranean, like literally deep frying, aubergines in a virgin oil. And I think this is an interesting debate when people talk about this, because it's like, what do you think the Mediterranean diet is? Like, what were they doing? This is the primary fat, or historically this, now, there's all these cheaper fats in the market, but this is the primary fat, which they cooked everything in, was virgin oils. And all of the oils that we now have, the seed oils and the refined oils, these are all products of like post-industrial revolution and a big push after World War II, with like, what are we supposed to do with all this rapeseed now that the war's over? So it's a bit of a different, they're not even the same thing. So anything, but essentially the research shows that anything you do in a home kitchen, you can do with extra virgin olive oil. And if it does get to the point that it is like hitting that smoke point that people talk about, like that it started to degrade, in the case of extra virgin olive, you smell that change. It is not a good smell. It's quite a strong, so you would know that you've hit it when that happens. Okay. And I have never actually done that in a home kitchen environment, except for one time in Spain when my flatmate left her fish frying and left the room and on the thing, and it caught the whole thing on fire because she just left.
Oh my gosh.
Like oil in a pan.
Blimey. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So yeah. Okay. That's good to know. So taking a commodity and turning it into a brand is what I want to touch on, because, olive oil is a household staple, and yet you have taken this natural substance and made it into a brand that I know, you're in the business, you don't hear what a consumer like me hears, but I know that you guys are like on the map. People are talking about it. People are appreciating olive oil. And I feel like it's down to brands like you guys who are like really pioneering in the space, and like you're creating a brand around a kind of normal like commodity.
Yeah.
How has that process been?
So going back to the beginning, when we started this business I was working in sustainability, and we were bringing this over from close family friends. And the reason we wanted to do it, the whole reason for being in this business at the start, was we wanted to reward farmers who were doing farming in harmony with nature, making a higher nutrient-rich olive oil, doing all the things you should do, but weren't rewarded in a commodity system, because there's no real way to showcase that in a big bulk commodity system. So we're like, we will pay you more for doing these things, and then you can reinvest back in the land from a regenerative perspective and, build out more biodiversity and resilience into the land. So that meant that we were going to have to pay them more than you would normally pay, which meant that the oil itself was going to be more expensive. So I knew right away, I'm going to have to make this brand. It can't look like humble farmer, rustic. It needs to look like something that could sit on the shelf at Selfridges. That would be beautiful. That would be stylish, that people would pay that money for. So from the very beginning, I was all about the aesthetic of how that looked, because I am while I was working in sustainability, I had a career, as in marketing. Basically my whole life I've worked in some form of marketing. So I thought I have to justify this price, and I'll do it through a beautiful brand. Then the aspect, that's the aesthetic of it, but the aspect of wanting to connect people and educate them and talk to the farmers and show them where this comes from, that was really from the sustainability angle of like where your food comes from, who made this, how did they make it? And that transparency in an industry like olive oil, which is one of the most fraudulent foods. It's like that, honey and milk are the things that people have there's so much fraud. And this is going back to literally in the Roman times, they used to like put traceability stamps on their olive oil because it was already a problem that people would like dump out the container and put different olive oils from different places. So this is a really fraudulent industry, so transparency was really important. So we built this brand around it, but always having to make it feel premium, I suppose, and like speak to the status that it really is. Because I'm like, these farmers work so hard. This is so beautifully made. It's so thoughtfully made. There's so much craft and artisanship in this that it needs to reflect that in how it looks, so people are willing to pay for it.
Completely. I think the one thing you guys did was putting it into like a wine bottle type shape, because that immediately elevates it into a gift in a way, or something worth more money because of the bottle that it's in. I was like, that's really cool, because you're kind of seeing it in a different way, in a different shape. You're using it with more luxury in it because of the shape of the bottle that you guys put it in.
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember when we were quite inspired by the natural wine movement and the wine industry. My husband has had a career in drinks, and I have worked in that as well. And then I had also done some wine courses. So I was really kind of inspired by how the wine movement can justify, like you look on shelf and you're like, okay, this bottle of wine is 5 pounds and this one is 50 and I'm going to buy one for 20. Like, where does that come from? Especially on a wine bottle where they often give you like no information. Like they don't even tell you what additives or anything that's in it. Like you have no information. It feels like just brand, or like if you happen to know or get like a good, someone at a shop that explains it to you. So I kind of felt like that was definitely something that inspired us. But we went on to have, I did like my training to be an olive oil taster, which is a sommelier course. So then I became an olive oil sommelier. So then it all started to like tie together. And we must have tried like 50 different bottles, like so many different bottles, in the kitchen. I kept pouring different ones, and I'd have them, like several of them sat there in my kitchen to test over, the weeks when we were deciding on the bottle. And I really loved the hand, like how that felt in the hands and how it felt to like use in the kitchen. Honestly, as someone who constantly pours olive oil in every aspect of my cooking, I wanted it to feel good in the hand. And then it really turned out nicely, because our producers who we started with were from the wine region of Crete, and the family were historically winemakers. So it really kind of, again, spoke to like that authenticity of like where it came from.
No, I love that. And speaking to you before we started recording, like you guys started in 2021 and like, again, it's grown and grown and grown and grown. And now, like, I do feel like you guys are really have boomed in like the last, you'll know more than me, but in the last like year or so, I feel like I'm seeing you guys a lot. How's the growth been? How has it, because I guess there's a lot of like education in a way to begin with to people, like why they should be investing in olive oil and why it is something that they should be putting their money into. How has that kind of grown and maybe become easier over time?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's become easier and also more difficult as we've grown. So whenever we first came up with this idea and we're thinking about it, to be honest, when we looked at the shelf, it was all really boring. Like we go into all the supermarkets and look at the shelves and we're like, they're not giving you any of the details. Like when was this harvested? What are the varieties? What is the acidity? Which as an olive oil geek, this is something I look out for. Like what are the polyphenols? Like there was just nothing was listed. Sometimes not even the producer name. So, but then also from an aesthetic perspective, I'm a marketer and I look on there, I'm like, nothing looks exciting. Like what bottle would I actually grab for? They're all using the same gold foiling and olive tree and very traditional Mediterranean names that don't necessarily speak. And we would ask people, what's your favorite brand of olive oil? Foodies and chefs and bartenders. And they would say, they couldn't think of the name. They were like, oh, I'm so into olive oil, but they couldn't name their favorite brand. And that really spoke to us as like an opportunity. And now you see, so at the beginning, it was like, okay, let's just put something beautiful on the shelf. And if you saw our first bottle, it really didn't have like details as far as like our story. It just had producer name, harvest, like all the stuff I wanted to share. Like that's just what you see. Like the facts are here. It didn't tell like a romantic story. And yet people were like picking it up just because the bottle was beautiful. And so we're like, oh, okay. Now we see people, because of the wave of nutrition, people getting to more like making that their statement of, this is like a extra healthy olive oil. This has, we're all about the polyphenols. Some people base their whole business off of being a nutritional or really extra healthy olive oil. The reality is most of those brands don't actually share any of the details that you need. There are a couple out there, especially in the wider world, that do, they'll share the lab reports, they share the facts, but so many of these people have built a whole business off of like the nutritional side of olive oil with no transparency to substantiate any of those claims. And the things that they're claiming, I always get such a kick out of, because I'll go on their website and they are making claims that are just for any extra virgin olive oil. I mean, of course, some oils can deliver more because they're healthier or because they're fresher or have more polyphenols. But they're saying this oil, like, so this particular oil is like good for your heart health. And like we have all this, good for heart, good for gut, good for prevention of Alzheimer's. They make good for skin, good for hair, good for weight management. All these things that I'm like, this is what extra virgin olive oil does. Like, so we're really careful to not make health claims as to why our oils are going to give you more health benefits than another, besides being like, extra virgin olive oil can do this. When it has high polyphenols, it can do this. And here's our lab reports and here's the so you can kind of see this. But I would never be like, my olive oil is going to make your hair grow longer, or my olive oil is going to make your gut health problems go away, or my olive oil, because that one, you don't have the facts. Yeah. You don't have like the science research done on your particular olive oil. And two, most good olive oils, again, if they're fresh and they have high polyphenols, they can deliver on a big chunk of that. So it's interesting now to see this new wave of a lot of startup olive oil brands come to market who are trying to create a brand without the underpinning of the relationships with farmers, which, my gosh, is so important. The, transparency of like lab analysis and testing and processing and all of those sorts of things. And it's just like, I often call not just an olive oil, but brands that come out like this, like Instagram brands. They're just trying to be beautiful on Instagram, but they're lacking a lot of the substance underneath. And that, so we lose some customers. Some customers like will go to some of these brands because they just like look really exciting. But likewise, we gain more customers who come because they realize that there's like a lack of depth to that, or it's not substantiated. Like, oh my gosh, they will send us this olive oil has made all of these claims, but like it's double the price, and you actually have a lab report, or like you have the farmer name, and I can call or just go visit the farmer. So like this feels more trustworthy.
Yeah, so interesting. And I was going to say kind of like what makes Citizens of Soil stand out, but I guess it is that like the relationship that you guys have with the farmers and the sustainability side is just a huge part of your business.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a food business, flavor always has to really rule all, because even if you are like, oh, we do all these good things for the environment and we do all these good things for people, it doesn't really matter if people can't stomach your food or don't think it's that amazing. So that is something I take a lot of pride in, sourcing our olive oils and really finding, I meet incredible farmers all the time and people I'd love to work with, but the quality just isn't there. And sometimes it could maybe get there in the future. Like I can advise them, okay, find a better mill, or, some of these steps to get to the point that we could work with them. But I started this business with just finding the best producers out there. I mean, I literally went to Istria, Croatia, which a lot of people haven't even heard of, this peninsula that dominates the awards per capita. Like they have like the most, it's like them and Tuscany have the most awards per capita of olive oil producers. And they have all these incredible small batch oils. Very few even get exported, especially to the UK. But it's like, I just want to find this producer who's like a top 10 small batch producer in the world who wins all these awards. I want to talk to her. I want to get to know her. How does she do it? What is she doing that's so special? What varieties? Learn from her. Same thing. I went in Portugal. She was my second farmer outside of our family that we went to. I was like, this woman is just like winning all these awards, getting so much recognition. I just want to like harvest with her and go to her mill and watch her work. And from that, then you get these people on board, and now they're so respected inside the olive oil space, that now you get other producers that are like, ooh, you work with this person. You know, I remember pitching my South African producer, who's an incredible, like very respected. I mean, she's probably making the best olive oil on the African continent. And one of the best olive oils in the world, to be honest. And, you know, she didn't need to sell to me. But it's like, here's who I work with, you know, and then suddenly you have like credibility because all these great producers want to work with you. And that's always been, so flavor is absolutely something I think we're very proud of. We're very proud of the impact side. It's not perfect, but we are really trying to build that out. So we started with farmers who are so incredible on the regenerative journey and building in biodiversity, really supporting. I mean, some of them have incredible success stories when the rest of their region is desolate at times, so the soil's degraded, how they've been able to survive and keep that soil health and like land alive. So that is like another aspect of, I think, what sets us apart of what we're trying to build with farmers there, and educating more farmers on how healthy soils literally make healthy oils and how we can do that.
I know, it's so good. And being an olive oil sommelier, like what does that kind of mean? And also what have you learned in terms of like, what do different regions promote? Like what different flavors will you find in different regions? What kind of, if a consumer's looking out for an olive oil and they want a certain taste, are there certain regions that promote those flavors more than others?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that to me is the geeky, fun, exciting part. I mean, the most rewarding part of my business is the farmers and getting to work with them and see what we could build with them. But a really enjoyable part, just on a personal level, is going and learning about different styles of olive oil, and how, you know, you look at a country like Spain, which is the biggest producer of olive oil in the world. They have several varieties, but two of their most prominent varieties that are also in other markets as well, because they yield so well that they've been exported, is Arbequina and Picual. These two varieties could not feel or taste different. One, Picual, can be over the top bitter, super peppery, can have really high polyphenols. You look at Arbequina, super light, super delicate. You know, a lot of chefs like it because it doesn't overpower food, but has a really fruity nose, much lower in the polyphenols, but still a delicious oil that can have a lot of oleic acid and other benefits. So this is just one country with its two major varieties. And as you go across regions, you discover so many and rare varieties, and varieties that are difficult to farm, but are things that people want to keep alive. My producer in Portugal has made a point. She has a garden in her groves where she has been rescuing rare varieties that are going away in Portugal. So she's tracked them down at garden centers across, like up and down the coast of Portugal, to find ones that just don't grow anymore, and see, one, if she can grow them and like what they might be like. So she's bought two of every one in case one doesn't make it. And then two, like, as the climate is severely changing, are there old varieties that we might be able to bring back that could maybe survive, you know, the climate crisis? So I think that's a really enjoyable thing. And I did a course in Spain to do my olive oil expert taster, which is like the sommelier training. It's much like wine, where you are learning different flavors, different styles, but also importantly defects. So actually the whole reason I did the course, I had already been working in olive oil. I'd already done harvest. I'd already been to the mill. I'd already like tried loads of different, done like private lessons with some judges and like olive oil experts. But I did the course to really learn about defects like you have in wine, because I wanted to know, even if I did this harvest myself with our family, like, is this oil, does it have a problem? Maybe the olives were a little dirty, or the milling was too long, or the heat, you know, there's so many factors that can disrupt and get you bad olives, bad olive oil. And I wanted to be able to identify those. And a lot of them are actually really difficult to identify when it's freshly milled, because it'll develop later in the year. And so you really have to have like an expert switched on tasting palate. Even for the oils that we have for stores where there's a risk that it could be on shelf for more than a year, because we don't really have control of it. We try to clear them out after a year when the new harvest comes in, but anything that's going to be on shelf that long, I send through these international olive oil judges and really get extra. So it's already gone through a panel in the home country, and then I select these people who have been doing it like decades to give me feedback. So I feel really confident whenever that oil is on shelf that like this has gone through literally like some of the best olive oil judges in the world, and I know that it's going to, you know, have a good shelf life and be everything that I want it to be in 12 months.
There's so much to it. I think people don't understand how much there is to just a simple thing like olive oil. Like, it's actually not so simple. There's so much that goes into it, which I think is amazing.
This is why you should buy from producers that literally know their stuff. Like, not just a farm. I mean, I love farmers, but sometimes we just did a training actually in Greece yesterday because some of the farmers don't really know how to properly taste olive oil. They just don't know. They don't know the aspects of the milling that they should be looking out for. They're incredible farmers. And so everyone kind of has a skill set, and it's really important to like share that. And that is kind of my concern in the olive oil space. There's a lot of people coming out who haven't really done the work in order to understand all of these dependencies. Even myself, I came out totally blind. Yes, I had done harvest. Yes, I'd been to a mill. This is what this family told me. Thought I knew because this is a multi-generational family, been doing this forever. But that's not the reality. You start to learn, but actually if you harvest it and put it in a bag, then it's more likely to get this like fusty quality or this, this problem. If it sits in the mill too long, it's going to have this problem, or I'm going to lose some of the polyphenols because they've like heated it up or someone's put water in. Like, there's all these different factors that you need to be switched on to. But that's what makes it a really enjoyable kind of geeky space to play in.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And do you shot olive oil?
I'm trying to think the last time I did. I don't do shots of olive oil, except for when I'm actually tasting them. Whenever I'm doing tasting, I have lots to try. The reason I don't do it is because I consume so much extra virgin olive oil in my diet from first thing in the morning. My husband puts it into smoothies. I'll put it on yogurt, like in my granola bowl or whatever. Well, a lot of my producers, actually, that's their go-to breakfast is like olive oil on top of like a Greek yogurt with maybe some nuts and seeds. So this is like the breakfast of champions in the olive oil space.
That is amazing. I love that.
It's a great one. But yeah, that and a little honey if you need some sweetness. I don't do shots because I consume so much extra virgin olive oil. And I think that's the thing. Whenever I talk to people who just want to do shots of olive oil, one, I think it's beneficial if you aren't really a breakfast person. You wake up and you do just need, you're going to take your supplements and you need a little fat and you need just something to kind of tide you over. My dad is a really big fan of like bulletproof coffees. He'll like do a blend. And so putting olive oil in something like that and with your collagen, getting like a shot, and then you don't have to have breakfast for another hour or two. I think that's a good solution for someone like that, especially, again, if you're having to take pills and supplements in the morning. But I think just put it over a little toast. Put it over, put it with some tomatoes or, put it over, if you don't like savory breakfast, over jam and bread instead of butter. It is gorgeous. Like the right olive oil on a beautiful jam and a nice piece of toast is like a gorgeous breakfast.
Heaven. It's so good. I actually do put MCT oil in my coffee. That's what you might have seen me do it, right? But that's like I have it every single day. For me, it's, I love that. This has been amazing. We do have a final question, which I ask everyone, which is, what is in your handbag?
Okay, yeah.
I'd love to know. I love seeing what's in people's bags.
Well, I didn't really come prepared for this, and I don't actually have very much in my bag at all. So what I guess what I always carry, which I'm addicted to. So if I leave the house, even for like a walk, I have to bring like a balm. Yeah. So the balm that I am using is the Dr. Lip. It's like nipple balm.
Yes, I've heard amazing things.
Amazing. So it's nothing but the lanolin. It's just like 100% natural grade lanolin. So it doesn't have any flavors or taste or anything like that. But you can put it on you can put it on your nails and your cuticles. You can maybe like, put it on your hands. It is like quite thick, but it's like lip gloss. I'm
amazing.
Obsessed with this. So this, I will go on a walk with like my phone, my keys in this, or like go to the market. And my husband's just like, if he sees me panicking, looking through a bag, he's like, lip gloss.
Yeah, she's not got it. Panic.
I have a brush because I have super long hair and it gets so tangled. So that's always.
Yeah.
I have an actual like tinted, this is meant to be a natural by Tarte, which I don't know if it's a brand here because I get it in the US. Again, it's like a natural, but there's like a little color to it. So this one, I'm a big fan of. I think you can get it at Sephora in the UK. Tarte is a lovely brand. I have another natural brand, Ela, which is like a lip liner.
Yeah, love that brand.
I don't even use lipstick anymore. Well, I do always keep, I'm such a girl.
I love it.
I do always keep, I have Toxic MAC.
It's okay. It's okay.
I have a MAC that will stay, that is a bright red. That is literally if I'm I keep it on me because you never know if you're just going to have to go out in the evening, and it can just make any outfit.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, these reds. And my whole skincare and beauty routine has all switched to natural products. And it is the one thing, a bright red lipstick, I haven't been able to find one that is natural, that actually stays, that you can wear and like will last all night. And this, especially if I do like events, like we have the Waitress Food and Drink event coming up in November, and it's like 3 days full on talking to loads of people.
That's Mac. It's Mac all day.
Mac will do it.
Yeah, I love that.
And then, just wallet, which is filled with a gazillion cards because I have all my business cards. I also have like a US and driver's license for different countries.
There we go.
A woman on the go.
A woman on the go.
And of course, AirPods, because I'm always on calls. And when I'm not on calls, I am on public transport. I am listening. I'm trying to do meditation apps.
Well
this is
done.
my thing on public transport.
That's good.
I think it's the best use when you can't get good service anyways, and just sit there and like do a little breathing, listen to a nice like positive affirmation before you go into the office.
Yeah, it's a good idea. That's a good idea.
I've been traveling, so there's not much and I have a random hotel key because I've taken off.
I love that. So that's perfect. Some good old recommendations in there, so that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I've loved geeking out about all things olive oil. I'm a big fan. I love your olive oil. I love the passion. I love the sustainability, the ethics, all of it.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice to hear.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope now you are just determined and motivated to go back home, check your cupboards, check your olive oil, find out when it was produced, when it was harvested. Honestly, I always say if you're going to invest in one thing in the kitchen, it has to be olive oil because it completely transforms all your dishes. If you love this episode, I feel like you're going to love next week's, where I am joined by Gazelle, who is the founder of East Healing, where we are going to talk all about acupuncture and acuseeds. Now, this is something that I am so interested in. I am completely blind to this topic, and I've got so many questions for Gazelle about how these small seeds can make such a difference in your ears. I've just got so many questions, so please join me next Tuesday where we go into all of that. Click that follow and subscribe button so you do not miss the episode. Thank you so much again, and see you next week.